Hello, my friends. So I am making this video in order to share my top 5 gifts that I took away from the Dr. Joe Marco Island Advanced Follow-Up Retreat. I am still reeling. I just want to start it out by letting you all know that this is where I'm at right now. I am literally still reeling from the event. What's the word there? I'm feeling an afterglow, and it just feels so good, and I'm really wanting it to continue. So I would like to continue the energy by serving and sharing it with you, because I don't see any better way to be able to express the love that I feel in my heart than by sharing with you my top. I originally said top 5, but I wound up expanding it to top 10. So surprise, bonus for you. Um, yeah, I just, it's the best way that I can think of to really express and share the love that I have by sharing it with all of you, especially because not everybody can go to an event. And it is so magical that I would love to just share what I received. I mean, there's so much that I couldn't possibly list everything. It's the whole experience that you had to be there. But I had so many insights, so many real deep realizations about who I've been being and about how I'm viewing things. Even just now when I was speaking, one came to me. I'm just going to share it with you. When I was out, one of the times that I was out on the beach. So we had 3 walking meditations out on the beach. And first, let me just share with you that it was so beautiful. Even though the weather wasn't ideal, there were nights that were kind of cloudy and overcast and a little cool and actually very breezy, but it added to the element of the energy. It felt mystical, and we were walking as the mystic. So it added to the entire experience, and it made it feel that much more easy to embody. And so during one of the times that I was walking on the beach, after the meditation was over, I felt like this urge to take pictures and videos of the entire environment because it was just so beautiful. And this is who I've always been. I've always been a picture taker. I feel like I have to capture every moment when there's something in my life that I'm just appreciating or grateful for. I want to capture it so I don't forget it. And something occurred to me while I was starting to do that. Life is meant to be experienced, not to be captured, because that's the whole energy of life. So anyway, I haven't even started sharing with you yet about these 10 gifts, and I better get to it because I literally can get so deep into these types of conversations that I spend the whole time talking instead of sharing what I was originally planning on sharing. So let's get to it. Okay, so number 1 of the 10, I have them written here on my notepad. So it lit a fire to my commitment to doing this work in the way of the number of times I do my meditations daily and the length of the meditations, as well as the depth and intensity with which I'm experiencing my meditations. So yes, my entire meditation practice has taken a deeper dive, and it's both my will that I am willing myself to do it because I have this newfound fire inside of me to get deeper. And that is stemming from the observing everybody around me who was receiving that kind of an energy where, things were happening. Now, what I'm referring to when I say that is the body shaking, the convulsing, the screaming, the crying, or the laughing. That doesn't happen to everybody, and you could still be having an amazing experience. So that's the first thing that I would have to say for those of us, because believe me, I've done it too, that compare ourselves to others and say, oh, well, why aren't I having that kind of experience? Taking away the meaning that that's the thing to get to. that that's what needs to happen in order for me to really experience a mystical experience. And then whenever that doesn't happen, then feeling like a failure or feeling like maybe we can't do it, that really tends to get in the way for people. So I just first want to put that out there, is that everybody is so unique and experiences their journey, they're into the mystical very differently. So just catch yourself if you start judging yourself, because I did, I had to catch myself at times too, because I do feel very strong energy in my body. Before the event, I wasn't feeling it as strongly, but I haven't gotten to any point of like feeling like my body is convulsing, but I'm open to it. I'm not expecting it. I'm not looking for it. And I'm not feeling like that has to happen in order for me to still reach the mystical and have mystical experiences. But I'm just sharing that that has occurred to me in the past. So because I have this newfound belief and fire and commitment to really giving myself the amount of time and the opportunity to really let myself get into it, I've been getting up earlier, and that's been my first thing that I've been doing. I have, instead of doing my journaling, which I used to do, or some breath work in bed, and maybe do a shorter meditation in bed, I've been getting out of bed and coming into my office and getting it done first and foremost before anything else. And the intensity that I'm experiencing the meditation, I feel, is at a deeper level because I'm able to be more present. I definitely have noticed my ability to be more present during my meditations has increased, and that's exciting for me. So let's move on, because again, I can get deeper down that rabbit hole as well. So number 2, increase in the belief in my own ability to connect with the universe on a deeper level and in the miracles I see all around me. There is no more doubt or inner talk causing a decrease in the passion and frequency and duration that I do my meditations, which aids in my confidence in the longevity of my practice and excitement for each and every opportunity to meditate. That's kind of long, but this is the way I write when I journal. So I'm just reading it right from when I was journaling. So yeah, similar to what I was saying before, the belief and knowing that it's all happening in the divine order for each one of us. And the best thing that I can do for myself is to make sure to give myself that opportunity each and every day to the extent that it deserves it, not just trying to take the shortcut. And it was so funny hearing Dr. Joe saying, not having the attitude as, I just want to get to my coffee, or, I just want to, get through my meditation so I can say that I did it. No, really put yourself into it. Really look forward to it. Get excited, because it's the unknown and we never know what's going to happen in the unknown. So that's exciting in itself. And, going into it with the belief that anything can happen. And each time it's really more about the act of staying present and just focusing on progress, not perfection, just making it your intention. I'm going to be present even more than I was yesterday. And, you can come up with different techniques to try to help you. I actually do that for my overcomers. I love coming up with ways to try to help you to remain present more, because it is an ability that you have to really develop. And you can't develop it unless you're showing up for yourself every day fully, not just going through the motions. I can get down that rabbit hole as well. So let's move on. Number 3, I find I am now craving the desire to meditate more frequently after experiencing the magic at the event, and I am hooked. So yeah, it was like I came home. Normally, before the event, I would meditate once a day. I would probably do it either in the morning or in the evening, but usually only once. And I was doing it, other than with my overcomers, which we do a full, 40 to an hour or more meditation. For myself, every morning when I was meditating, I was only doing like maybe a 20, 30-minute meditation, maybe 40 max, but it was more the shorter ones, sometimes maybe even I'm embarrassed to admit, sometimes maybe even the 15-minute ones, generating gratitude and the generating series. Turning your love inward is always so beautiful. So again, I digressed, but when I came back from the event, I meditated first thing in the morning. I did the electric body, and then by the afternoon, I was feeling like I needed to do it again. And I came back and I did another meditation. And it was just was coming from this like desire from within, like I needed to do another meditation, not just, felt like maybe I should. It felt like a real need. And I gave it to myself and it felt so good. So now I am really dedicated to getting up earlier, doing the longer meditations and really putting myself into it and starting it from the perspective of how can I just release any expectation and just enjoy the process of it. Just experiment each time and see what works best for me to keep myself present, to do the breath the way that I can have fun with it and play with it and see what works best for me. Okay, let's continue. I mean, literally, I can make this an hour-long video and I'm trying to move along so it's not so long for you. Number 4, I'm much less likely to allow my external circumstances or other people cause me to react in a low vibe emotion and able to separate myself from my old perspectives about them. Yeah, I feel like I was already aware, very aware before the event, but now I feel almost hyper aware. Like I'm noticing things on a deeper level that I wasn't noticing before. And I'm choosing the different perspective through the eyes of my higher self, and one that makes me feel compassion and love for people that I might otherwise have been triggered by. Number 5, my commitment to showing up every day for myself, not only in meditation, but also in journaling, working out, and the other activities and qualities that make up my higher self. And, there's this expression, the way you do one thing is how you do everything. And I feel that way, that being that now I'm viewing myself as my higher self more regularly, my actions are portraying that or are reflective of that. So it's influencing my consistency in the other areas that I've been wanting to get more disciplined around. And it's not coming from a place of feeling like I need to be disciplined. It's just coming from a place of feeling more aligned with these habits instead of the ones that didn't really align with my higher self. Number 6, I'm being more of my joyful, fun, and silly self. So I was always so silly. I remember my mom, when I was little, I used to just be so silly and I would just like laugh for no reason, hysterically, and then make her laugh. Life felt really light then and fun, and I could just let myself be. And I know that because life, takes its toll on all of us, and I have gone through very difficult times in my life where I was being bullied and made fun of and rejected, and it did a number on my ability to feel safe in being my authentic self. And so I just feel like the event gave me an even more elevated permission for myself to be even more myself and let go of any of the fears or worries that people are going to judge me, because that's how I've lived the majority of my life since I was a child. So I'm so honored that I'm sharing this with you, and that I love connection. And when I share deep thoughts and have conversations with others who share their deep thoughts and we can connect on that level, it causes such a beautiful connection. And that's what I've always been about. So thank you for connecting with me right now. Number 7, I'm feeling more connected to my higher self and have developed my ability to see through her eyes and respond to life's challenges in her energy. And then I added in parentheses, maybe not at first, but I catch myself more. I'm not perfect, that's for sure, but I catch myself more when I don't. And I'm aware of even more ways of being that I'm choosing to change. So I've become more aware when I'm being a certain way instead of being sucked into that program. I'm more likely to notice when I start falling out of grace than before. I'm just feeling overall like I've evolved from the event. So that was number 7. So there's 3 more, but I just have to share with you also. I wanted to preface it at the beginning originally by saying that I went to only one other Dr. Joe event, and that was the one that was, I mean, just completely gifted by the divine. I received a full scholarship from Give to Give, and I was invited to meet Dr. Joe backstage and get on stage with him and share my testimonial. And that was, I have to say, that was one of the most miraculous days of my life. And I know that it was all manifested while I was going through my health challenge. And that was the only event that I've been to. So this was my second event. And when I went there, I had a lot of my own stuff, personal stuff going on that I used to serve me in my journey that I was aware of and allowed it to serve me by helping me to become even more aware of where that was coming from and what that must mean. And these are the questions that we can all ask ourselves when we become aware of ways that we're being or ways that we're feeling that are not in alignment with how we want to experience life. The actual personal things that I went through, I share with my overcomers so that they can use me as an example of how I handled it, the questions I asked myself, how I journaled about it in order to allow it to serve me. So these are all things that I'm offering to you as well. These are how our triggers can be our friends by allowing them to serve us in creating even more awareness about who we've been being and what that must mean about us, what belief we've been holding on to that needs to change. Okay, so I'm going to share with you now one of my own personal triggers that happened for me at the event and how I handled it to serve you even more. So, as you know, the only other time I've been to an event, I had this amazing experience. And when I was going through my health challenge, Dr. Joe was the light. His work and listening to him and watching his workshops and writing down all the notes from the lessons and letting that be my guiding light out of what would have been a rabbit hole of fear. I mean, can you imagine not being able to feel or use your legs or your feet after having a whole life of having a normal life and being healthy? And now all of a sudden, I couldn't feel my feet or wiggle my toes or even lift my leg more than an inch off the bed. And there were times I couldn't even stand. I mean, it was scary. And I was relapsing over and over again. Each time I was sent home, I spent the greater part of 5 months in the hospital. And thank God someone introduced me to Dr. Joe's work because that is what led me out of that nightmare. And his voice and his energy and the way he speaks and all of it, it has this neuro connection in my brain that being in the same room with him brings me right back to that experience when I let it. Now, this past time, it was very new because now here I am, my higher self than who I was before when I was at the last event. I intentionally went in without any expectations, yet, the unknown, we don't know what to expect. So while I was there, I definitely noticed that I did have my ego popping in because, last time I felt so special. And this time I was like, I wonder if he's even going to notice me, right? So that voice was in my head. I was really hoping to have some sort of interaction with him. So there was this meditation that we were on the beach and we were walking. And at one point when I was walking, I was really into the meditation, and I see Dr. Joe standing there. And oh my gosh, of course, there's this part of me that would have loved to just break out of meditation and just go run over there and give him this big, big hug, bear hug, and be able to thank him. But what was going through my mind in that split second was Dr. Joe would rather me continue to stay in state and not leave the meditation because he's standing there. And of course, that could be a deterrent with him coming out and being part of us if everybody started doing that. So I didn't. And I just put myself even more in the meditation and even more in that energy because I wanted to please him. Of course, it's for me too, but I wanted him to see that I am in it, that I am a believer, that I am I am playing full out. And so I did it. And then when I had to turn and come back the other way, I saw him again. And then it was time to just stop and to stand and with my eyes closed. And I knew where he was. He wasn't that far from me. And I said to myself, when I open my eyes, if he is still there, I am going over to him and I am giving him a big hug. And I opened my eyes when it was time, and he wasn't there. So I didn't wind up giving him a hug. And then later in the day, I found out from my roommate who told me that she saw another woman stop on the beach and give him a hug. And my ego popped in. Why didn't you do that? You should have done that too. But you know what? I spoke to my sisters, my quantum angel sisters about it, and I had the support. And, all it did was it made me recognize that this was my ego wanting something outside of me in order to feel even better. And then I used it. I used it for my own benefit. I used it to serve me in my journey by recognizing it's coming from a place of that I'm not filled up already, that I need something else I think it may have been just wanting to feel special to him, because he means so much to me. And I wanted to just feel that acknowledgement, or to and have that connection, to create that connection between me and him. So anyway, I recognized my ego coming in, and it took a little while. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't immediate. It took a little while for me to work through it, but I did. I wound up giving myself the love, and I wound up telling myself that when it's meant to happen, it's going to happen without me having to break out of meditation. It's going to happen naturally. And I know there's going to be more opportunities. So it was an opportunity that happening, and my ego popping up like that was an opportunity for me to work through it and calm myself down, tell my ego who's in charge, and that's not the only way to view it. And instead, I chose to view it from the perspective of it wasn't meant to happen then. And knowing that it was meant to serve me in this way. And so I just kept on loving on myself and telling myself that it will happen when it's meant to happen. So I hope that helps you as well. All right, so number 8, I'm more sensitive to feeling the energy in my body. Number 9, not afraid to let my intuition lead. And because of that, I'm having deeper conversations with my overcomers and able to bring this deeper level of awareness to my sessions with them. I'm also able to have deeper awarenesses within myself about the things that have been going unnoticed. Even in the journey that I've been already going deep in, there's always more to uncover. And I feel like I'm at a different level where I'm uncovering more things that were going unnoticed before. And number 10, my newfound passion that is leading my path has shifted. Instead of being goal-oriented, it's more, how else can I serve? Because it is my deepest passion to really create new ways as I'm continuing to evolve in my journey, experiencing the divine downloads that are going to help me to help you to open up even more, or to connect even more, or to overcome even more, overcome the conditioned beliefs and overcome the mind that keeps on streaming through your mind and getting sucked into that. So, and then the last thing I wrote was, I've transitioned into a future version of myself just by being at the event. And because I feel that new energy, I'm even more inspired to be consistent about reflecting on my day and learning when I fell from grace and who I want to be going forward. I'm refining and tweaking who I choose to be and the habits that reflect my higher self. That's literally my main intention now every day. I'm thinking from the state of being of my higher self. I'm asking myself, what would she do? I also have a new list of all the qualities of my higher self. I just wrote that after the event. So I just feel like many people aren't able to go to an event. It's not, conducive for a lot of people. And I just felt the desire to want to share from my experience that I am so grateful for, because being able to afford to go to an event wasn't within my realm a couple of years ago. And I know that my life has changed because of this work. And so I just want to share it, as much the takeaways that I received with all of you so that you can benefit as well. And if this is something that really resonated with you, and you would really like to continue to receive these kinds of messages or have conversations about this, I'm actually in the process of creating a new container that's not on Facebook, that would be a membership for anybody who really would like to be part of a community that meets once a month. And we may have, I'm still working through it, but it would be me meeting with you live once a month. And we would either be doing conversations about specific topics, or I would be presenting a topic and then asking who has anything that you'd like to share about it. And we would just have conversations about it. So that's what I'm thinking right now. It would also be community based. So there would be connections made throughout the community and conversations had based on posts as well. So it would really just be lifting yourself up and surrounding yourself by that higher level of energy and those deeper levels of conversations. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, because I'm still working through it, let me know. And then as soon as I have the specifics, I'll send you a very special invite for the first round of people who are interested in joining. Okay. Thank you for staying with me through this, and I hope it served you. Mwah.